Hello and welcome to the Rocky Mountains, USA and Beaver Creek, Colorado for the opening downhill of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. Hello and welcome to Beaver Creek, Colorado for the opening downhill of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup for 2026. It has been a little bit of a bumpy ride to get to this point in the day and finally open the downhill tour. There was a little shortage of snow when we arrived here on Monday, and 50 centimeters has fallen since our arrival. The conditions today are perfect before the second big snowstorm and wave of difficult weather conditions arrives, which is why the schedule has been changed, reorganized and developed to maximize the potential of a race today, with really heavy snowfall forecast for Friday, Saturday and Sunday here in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, USA. Now, that shortage of snow means that we have a slightly shorter track. We'll be stopping at the abyss area of the race piste, not taking the downhill all the way into the traditional finish area and grandstand. We missed the red tail and harrier jumps. We will be about 10 to 11 seconds shorter than a full-length race. But we are delighted to get this competition away. There were questions a week ago as whether we would be racing at all here in Beaver Creek. The news is good. Lots of great stories to tell you about the fastest male skiers in the world as we prepare for round 1 of 9 on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. Now we're taking a look at the early starters here with our race director Spence Voller, but everybody's looking long and hard at the Swiss Speed team. 1, 2 and 3 in the downhill standings of last season. That was Odermatt, Franjo von Allmen and Alexis Monet. So this is actually round 1 of 9. There will now be an extra downhill, the one that we lose here tomorrow in Val Gardena. So Val Gardena steps in as the resort that is prepared to add an extra race should events get cancelled early season. Double downhill in Val Gardena. Make a note in your diaries, please. Thursday, the 18th of December, downhill 1, slightly shortened downhill. Super G on the 19th. Then the 20th will be the official Sasselong downhill in the Italian Dolomites and that beautiful resort of Val Gardena. Well, as for here in Beaver Creek, the crowd, we're absolutely delighted that they've still come along. They'll be watching it on the big screen rather than having the athletes come flying into the finish area, but it hasn't stopped the locals here in Beaver Creek coming out to support all of the athletes. It's a big field, 64 starters in this one-run high-speed shootout, representing 70 national ski associations. That means 17 different countries. They've been racing here in Beaver Creek, Colorado since 1997. The Birds of Prey is one of the most famous on the tour. Minus 10 degrees Celsius to minus 8. There you see we finished just after the abyss. And the course setter from the International Ski and Snowboard Federation, FIS, from former world champion Hannes Trinkel of Austria. Well, it's difficult to believe, isn't it, that it was snowing like you would be amazed at here just 24 hours ago. The local organizing committee and the Talon crew, as they call them, have been working through the night to get this racetrack ready for this opening downhill of the season, the Birds of Prey of Beaver Creek, Colorado. Very unique racetrack. They come along this very flat opening section. They call it the flyaway. It's got to be one of the easiest top sections to a racetrack, but then it literally drops to the brink, and then the fun and games begin. They get this long gliding section, then drop out a big left footer onto the famous Talon and the Talon turn, dropping into, after the Talon turns, Pete's Arena, it's called. Another important part of the racetrack where you carry the speed onto the Goshawk jump, bit too big this year. Not a lot of snow to build it with, to be honest. Then again, very important into Russi's ride, named after the course designer of this amazing. Then Screech Owl, another very important part of the racetrack. Screech Owl into the Golden Eagle jump. And then the Golden Eagle jump landing down into the abyss. You can see the Stiefel banner there showing us the jump. Look at it, still in the shade, dark as you take off below, dark on the landing, back into the sunshine. And this is where now we're slowing the racers down because this shortened finish. Why is the finish shortened? Because you can see all this beautiful snow. Not enough snow to dig and hold our safety A and B netting in key parts of the lower part of the track. I would imagine there would be enough snow if we were racing here next week, but the calendar's set. Part of the reason we're in North America at this time of the season and the year is that, of course, Beaver Creek, like many of the resorts in Colorado, famous for its early season snowfall, but it's around about 2 or 3 weeks late. It is coming if you're heading to this part of the world for maybe Christmas, New Year vacations. You'll be fine. They're expecting another 50 centimeters tomorrow and through the weekend. Great to have Niels Hintermann back on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour after a cancer scare with a lump in his neck. He's back. The wild boar of Switzerland, out of Bullach near Zurich, will be the first man to kickstart the 2026 down. But these are the skiers to watch. Third in the standings last season, Alexis Monet. Stefan Rochadin, also of the Swiss team. Kriegmeier, a former winner here, 8th for Austria. Michal Hroback, top Slovenian. Nils Allegre, the fastest of the French. The defending champion, wearing the Audi Red Leaders bib, goes with bib number 11. Crawford looked good in training, winner here last year. Maurissier goes with 13, world downhill champion, new star of Switzerland, Franjo von Allmen. Dominic Paris is another former winner here, and a racer to watch very carefully indeed. For me, Dominic Paris looked very confident in training. Best chance for the USA, I think, is this gentleman on screen. Ryan Cochran-Siegel. They call him RCS on the tour. He's from Vermont. His mum an Olympic champion, Barbara Cochran. There's Kriegmeier. Kriegmeier looked good in the opening Super G of the season, on the podium there, of course. And Kriegmeier has experience on his side, no question. Winner of the Super G here back in 2017. Many thanks to Spence Voller and his team here today for providing some brilliant world feed pictures. It's been tough for the TV cameras, as it has for the Peace Prep teams, and of course Marcus Waldner and the sport team of the FIS. Just wheeling and dealing with Mother Nature from a weather perspective, but they have rescheduled to perfection. Congratulations to Marcus Waldner and his team, timing this perfectly.
Meter and a quarter from the net. Soft packed, soft snow, but inside of that, it's really nice, pretty consistent.
So word on the American team radio, just watch if you lose the racing line on the outside. There is a lot of fresh snow. 50 centimeters has fallen since Monday, Sunday night, Monday morning here in Beaver Creek. Absolutely key you hold that race line. French team radio. When you come to the brink, the steep pitch, it's in the shadow. But I think when Nils will start, it will be in the sun. So the visibility characteristic of the racetrack here in Beaver Creek changing all the time as the sun gets higher. You're with FIS TV live in Beaver Creek, Colorado. Nick Fellows in the commentary box for the opening downhill of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. And I am delighted, truly delighted, to welcome back Niels Hintermann. They found a lump in his neck a couple of years ago. They caught an early stage lymph node of cancer. He's gone through chemo, radiotherapy, and he makes his return today. Cancer-free in 2025 now. He's going to have to get those rust off the race skis But this skier, now 30 years of age, 100 World Cup starts, 3 wins, 7 podiums, is always an exciting athlete to watch for Team Switzerland. Out of the flyaway, into the brink. It really steepens here. The speed goes from about 60 to 90 kilometers per hour. Well, our apologies for a little bit of dropout from the pictures here. Hinterman heads for the Golden Eagle jump. Good controlled flight there for Niels Hinterman. Now this is where a couple more gates into the abyss, and then we hit the new finish line further up the slope than we would have liked. Early pace set by Niels Hinterman. So good to have this guy back with us on tour. And that cancer scare behind him. Serrested for Norway, number 2 on course. Target time, 1:31.63. Serrested with a very impressive green light now, 1.21 ahead of Niels Hinterman. World Championship bronze medalist in supergiant slalom, but having a very nice, smooth, clean and error-free race here. Serrested got top position here. A little more like the form. A tentative return from Niels Hinterman. Serrested goes into the lead for Norway, setting the new target time at 1 minute 30.53 seconds.
I think we're going to go under 130 by the time the day is over. Look at that beautiful shot up there. Guys, how steep it is up on Pete's Arena. And then Serrested coming out of it. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here's Kilde, back on the tour. So good to have Alexander Odermatt make his comeback and put World Cup points on the board in Super G last weekend in Copper Mountain, Colorado, USA. Kilde's got such a great record here, and he's hungry to get back into the top flight. He won the downhill here in 21 and 22. Also, like so many of the great Norwegians,
Donc on ose aller loin, on ose revenir.
well, still got this satellite interruption here. Certainly on my screen, I hope not yours. Just over half a second off the pace here, Kilde of Serrested, who's had an absolute flyer. all about race after race, getting physically stronger, confident with the technique. 0.68 off the pace. Kilde, on his return to the World Cup Tour from injury, goes into runner-up position.
This is a whole lot better. Not from the training run yesterday. Look at the form. Aerodynamics over the Golden Eagle. Trying to keep that head down, chest down, and elbows in. He's done it in the finish. Make some noise for Alexander on that
Big hopes for the American team. That 10th position in the opening Super G of the season in Copper Mountain last weekend. If it were not for the big error, I think he'd have been in the top 5. So let's watch Ryan carefully here. Of course, the son of the Olympic champion Barbara Ann Cochran took the slalom Olympic gold in Sapporo back in '72. Now Ryan. 1 World Cup win, 3 podiums, under a fair bit of pressure. For me, with Ryan, RCS, I was going down on the bus with him, of all things. Yesterday, we were chatting away. It's all the mental game for Ryan Cochran-Siegle. Tends to hold back a little bit. His precision, his skill with the skis is outstanding. It's just his race pace that he needs to work on. Let it go, put it on autopilot. And this is good news for the local fans here as the United States of America take the lead. Ryan Cochran-Siegle goes to the top of the table. Spectacular skiing from RCS, taking the lead away from Norway, with Kilde also down in 3rd position. Friends, family in the crowd have come to cheer him on. Hemmetsberger, first of the Austrian racers. Look how he's looking for that aerodynamic, clean shape. Across the flyaway section, then the technical skills come into play on the brink. Hemmetsberger, the slowest so far, a little tentative and cautious in the aggressive and typical super cold, crisp Colorado snow. Swiss Team Radio. Little bumpy because of the snowcat work. 3rd in the downhill standings of last season. This is Alexis Monet from the Freiburg canton of Switzerland. comes out of the brink into that big left foot talon turn, gets pitched a little high into the air, but lovely, loosey-goosey on the skis, flowing beautifully. 0.27 off the pace of the leading time set by the American number one, RCS, Ryan Cochran-Siegel at 1 minute 30.14 seconds. Still with the red light, 0.75 off the pace of the leading American here. Off the Golden Eagle jump, landing on the shady backside here. Then a couple of gates to take in, then the new finish line. And Alexei Monet, third position, 0.85 off the pace. I mean, let's point it out and get serious here. The Americans haven't won the downhill on home snow or on the Birds of Prey since Bodie Miller in December 2011.
Let's welcome our racer money into the finish. Give him a little love. Right there.
Another one of the big guns from the Swiss speed team is Stefan Rogentin. Very impressive, 7th position in the opening Super G of the season. Now Stefan, 31 years of age, from the World Cup resort of Lenzerheide. 13th in this race last year. Wrapped up his downhill and Super G season with big results. Placed 3rd in the double in Kvitfjell to end the 2025 tour. I think he's really hoping that the weather gods stay with us here in Colorado and he gets a Super G race. This is why we've switched the schedule around a little to try and accommodate the Super G. Solid, isn't it? Half a second off the pace for the Swiss skier. Just one World Cup victory, 6 podiums. Beautiful control off the Golden Eagle. A 41-meter flight in the air. Rogentin's in the chase here. Into 3rd position for the Swiss team.
But our first Austrian is next up. It's a beautiful picture going across the world from Beaver Creek. The snow conditions beautiful. Lots of Swiss air flight right there.
Kriechmeier, big chance here for the Austrian team, showing wonderful early season form. Kriechmeier, a former winner here.
4, 3, 2, 3
Now, second in the opening Super G of the season for Vincent Kriechmeier, the veteran of the Austrian speed team, but very much their captain at 34 years of age. His mother from Belgium, his father, of course, beef cattle farmer in Austria now, and his mom is an art teacher. He has a real eye for fine art, does Vincent Kriechmeier, the World Championship silver medalist. And of course, Kriechmeier struggled a little with his form and injury last season, but he's prepared near perfectly for this World Cup heading into the Winter Olympics of 2026. Kriegmeier, 18 wins, 38 podiums, always a danger. Loves the grippy, cold, aggressive snow of North America, and particularly Colorado. Working the terrain nicely here. Yeah, that's a deserved green light. Lovely aerodynamic shape. Nice and early with his racing line clean. This is Kriegmeier coming fast and late in the lower part of the challenge here. Now preparing for the Golden Eagle jump. Needs to get that ski-to-snow contact as early as he possibly can. Through the Stiefel banner. Now heading for the finish line. Kriegmeier looking to take the lead from the local hero here. Ryan Cochran-Siegel. Kriegmeier goes third. Oh, two beautiful green lights across the 5-sector times there for Kriegmeier of Austria.
Big air market. There's the Nordic ski jumper in the middle of an Alpine race.
Well, I recognize those skis. That is Niels Allegre. Big hope for the French team here today. But this is Michal Hrobat from Slovenia. Hrobi, as they call him on the tour. Solid 13th position in the season opener for Michal. Now, most importantly, he picked up his first World Cup podium here in Beaver Creek, Colorado last season. He backed it up with a third position in Wengen. That's 3 podiums that Michal has recorded in his career to date. Just 30 years of age. He's got a good, solid team behind him as well. Former coach of Korzer and Stuhetz, other great downhillers. Now, it's a shortened track, not as long as many would have liked. The tough turns are in there, the precision and that clean arcing of the turning ski is required. It's a real balancing act on this unique Colorado snow. He's right on point, isn't he? 0.14 off the pace, Hrobat now. Looking to relive that top 3 of a year ago. He was pipped by Marco Odermatt and, of course, last year's winner, Justin Marissier. Preparing for the Golden Eagle jump. Lovely, compact, aerodynamic shape. Under the Stiefel banner he goes. He's lost it in Pete's Arena, I think. Dropping down into 7th position, Michal Hrobat.
But we have some big hitters coming up. First off, from France, Niels Allegre. And the course is in perfect position, Peter, for someone to strike. All right, Doug.
Hey, boys, the top flat is faster as expected, and the right foot double before the brink has a little bit of soft snow in it.
That is a beautiful team radio shot of Ryan Cochran-Siegel giving some valuable words of wisdom to his American teammates. Now let's go to the first of the French challengers here, Niels Allegre. Guillermo Fayed was third here in 2015. Johan Claret second in 2019. But as I run through the downhill results through the years, you don't see many French winners. This would be truly a golden day if a French downhill racer could win here. Because going all the way back, we don't see any.
3, 4, 5.
Now, Allegre.
Hey!
Whoa, a little wild off the talon there. A little bit of boogie-woogie, dancing from left to right to hold the position. It's exciting skiing here. But he's just a split second off with the timing, just a little low and late. Now, Allegre hits 120, 117.9 through the speed gun. still hitting 70, shy of 80 miles per hour off the Golden Eagle jump. 8/10 off the pace for the first of the French races here today. Nils Allegre is struggling to find the pace and tempo. A lot of the skiers find a lot of the race pace in the closing turns that we're not watching this year, of course. No Harriet or red tail jump, that high-speed, dramatic finale. But as we said on the upper part of the challenge for Nils Allegre, struggling. RCS still leads with the defending downhill champion next on course. This is the world number one, Marco Odermatt. Odermatt won his first World Cup race here in 2019, a Super G competition. He's already won the opening Super G in Copper Mountain, Colorado, USA. Now the back-to-back downhill globe winner
5, 4,
begins the defense or his quest for a third discipline title in downhill. Looked rock solid in the 2 practice sessions. Fastest in the opener, 6th yesterday. And of course, for Audi, 47 wins, 90 podiums. Has him 5th in the all-time men's winners list. Ahead of him, Tomber on 50, Hermann Maier on 54, Marcel Hirscher, 67, and the great Ingemar Stenmark on 86.
to activate a lot.
That's smooth. Maybe not have brought a lot of speed off that flat flyaway opening section, but now he's going through the gears. Yep, the clock agrees with me. 0.56. Audi's not the best glider in the business, but when you give him the technical turns, that's where the world number one starts to make his pace and play. And here comes Marco Odermatt, full throttle, 4/10 the right side of the clock. And Odermatt, beautiful skiing here. Confident, loose, relaxed, trying to keep those skis in contact with the snow. Now, the 28-year-old Swiss racer heads off the Golden Eagle, just needs to keep this jump clean, back into the aerodynamic shape, close this out, and Audi's looking for his first ever win in downhill at Beaver Creek. 3/10 quicker than Ryan Cochrane-Siegel. Switzerland are in the lead. The cowbells are ringing, and Audi goes top of the table. He was sensational coming through the brink into Talon Turn. For me, that's where Odermatt has won it today, or has he? Still a lot of talented skiers to go. He's won in Super G here before, he's never won the downhill. Audi will be delighted if he ticks that box here today. Canada are in the gate. This is James Crawford, the man who won the big race in Kitzbühel. But he's also got podium form here in downhill. Take you back to 2022. And James Crawford, 28-year-old from Ontario, Canada, knows exactly how to ski this track. Now, Crawford is a beautiful glider, keeping those skis flat, letting them wash over the snow in this flyaway opening section. 16th in the opening Super G of the season. Solid in the practice runs. I have to say, we can't read too deeply into those practice sessions. Very different conditions to what we're racing on here today on the Birds of Prey of Beaver Creek, Colorado. Sets up nicely onto the big left footer here. Load, load, load. Take the jump, then switch to the right foot. Arc that clean. This was where Odermatt looked in control. And it's good speed here from James Crawford. One World Cup win, 6 podiums, but that one World Cup win was at the Cup Final, Super Bowl, whatever you want to call it, Kitzbühel last season. What a place to record your first victory. But James Crawford's lost a fair bit of time here. And this shortened racetrack for today's opening downhill of the season, there is very, very little room for error. And he's not going to find 1.91. This is a bit of a disappointment for the Canadian fans and a disappointment for the 2023 Super G World Champion. #12th spot, 2.42 off the pace as he slows it all down. Oh, that's disappointing for James Crawford. Swiss Team Radio, let's listen in.
Ich bin seit 8 Jahren auf dem Baum, aber habe noch nie einen Steilhang so fahren gesehen.
Oh, well, there you go. I've sat on this tree for 8 years, and I've never seen anybody ski the steep pitch like that. Well, this man maybe will, because Odermatt leads. It's almost looking like a repeat of the ski race here last year. Odermatt was leading, and out of the gate comes Justin Maurissier to steal the lead from his great buddy. Now Maurissier, 33 years of age, out of Switzerland's super ski resort of Verbier. Can he work the magic like he did 12 months ago? Now, unfortunately for Maurissier, after winning, and it was his first career victory here last year, he was not able to back it up. Went no better than 6th on the Tour, and that was on the Olympic track of Bormio in Italy. So this is a very big, and I would imagine pretty nervous start to the season. Comes off the flyaway, onto the brink. Now looking for the big left foot turn here, onto the traverse, take the little jump, then a very smooth, clean switch to the right, and then left foot again. Out of the Talon, top speed now into Pete's Arena. Ooh, little bit of a kick off the bump there. But Maurissier already leaves himself 7/10 to find. 33 years of age, over 200 World Cup starts against his name. He's got the miles, he's got the experience. But again, for me, Maurissier is very similar to the American racer lying in second position. Just tries that little too hard and searching for the speed rather than letting it flow. Maurissier down the backside of the Golden Eagle, heading for the finish line. 1.8 off the pace, 11th position for Maurissier. Another skier that will be just a little frustrated with that. Such high expectation from Maurissier in the race that he won 12 months ago. See how deep and low he gets dropped into the powder snow on the outside of the racing line. The coaches can see it as well in the finish area with Niels Hintermann watching on. There's Odi. This could be a big day. Look at that punch to the air. He knows it. Well, here's a youngster that's been pushing and chasing the tails of Odermatt skis all of last season, ended up runner-up in the downhill standings to Marco Odermatt. Of course, this is the new young rising star of the Swiss speed team, Franjo von Allmen. Just 33 World Cup starts, 3 wins, 8 podiums. And a very exciting racer indeed. Now, Franjo, this is how his breakthrough was so impressive, was 29th in this race last year, then went to Val Gardeno, where, of course, we're heading in a couple of weeks to go second in Val Gardeno, Bormio and Wengen, and then the wins in Crans-Montana and Kvitfjell and the World Championship downhill gold. That's a little bit ragged after a very nice, clean entry on the turning ski to Talon. Top 10 in the opening Super G in Copper Mountain last weekend. He's just 24 years of age. He's got a huge career ahead of him. But he hasn't got quite that clean, super smooth technique that Odermatt demonstrated on the Steilhang, on the steep pitch, 0.69. Now off the pace, it's slipping away. He was looking good to take 3rd position a few gates back, and now he's out of the top 5. Off the Golden Eagle, lovely big flight, 42 meters in the air before slapping those head skis back onto the snow. It is 4th position, 0.85 off the pace for Franjo von Allmen. Top 3 currently Switzerland, USA and Norway. And that is, of course, Audi, RCS and Adrian Smythe-Serrestedt.
And, you know, we talk about this course as being just rock and roll. We got a rock and roll superstar coming up next from Italy.
Another high-altitude race has them gasping for breath in the finish area. Here we go. This is one of the big superstars from the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour that can stop Audi today. It's Dominic Paris. I'm staying in the same hotel as Dominic, and you forget how big and powerful this Italian lad is. He's out of Merano, in the Bolzano area of Italy. 11th position in the opening Super G. Dominic Paris. Some amazing stats against his name. 24 World Cup downhill wins, 50 podiums. Dominic, of course, one of the few skiers that has a chance of chasing down the great record of Franz Klammer. Franz Klammer has won 25. And Dominic Paris in downhill, I'm not counting Super Gs here, has 19. Oh, that's a beautiful turn from the Italian, but the pace is not there. 1.02. Oh. Like Odie, this is one of the few downhills that he's yet to conquer. He would dearly love to win here. Now Dominic Paris coming with one of his classic power play closeouts, but this is a shortened racetrack for the season opener here on the Birds of Prey. Dominic's left himself a lot of time to find. He's got it down to 0.97, charging, but he needs the full-length track here today, the Italian number one, as Dominic Paris stops the clock in 6th position, 0.92 off the pace of Audi. Rock-solid start to his new season's campaign. But many believed here that Dominic could have been one of the racers. Look how he smashes his way through the control gate there. Hugely popular with the crowds. They then ski down from that high closing gate into the finish area. But it's Marco Odermatt looking for his first win in downhill here in Beaver Creek, Colorado, ahead of Ryan Cochran-Siegel, finally finding top gear in front of the home crowd. And Smythe Serested of Norway holds 3rd position. Then we see Franjo von Almen, Kriegmeier, Dominic Paris, Rogentine, Monet, Kilde, and Allegra for France making up the top 10. Adrian Smythe Serested. That 3rd position for me still wide open. Ryan Cochran-Siegel finally fulfilling his potential here on the Golden Eagle. But Odermatt was just technically brilliant on the Steilhang. And Odermatt waits and watches patiently to see whether he's won the downhill for the first time in his career on the Birds of Prey of Beaver Creek, Colorado. Now, Cameron Alexander, wearing 17 for Canada, was the fastest in training here yesterday. Bennett has had some words of wisdom on the American team radio, goes with bib number 19. Some skiers that could still shake up the top positions. Track is perfect. Trust is the word from the Italian coach for Flo Schida. Schida now 29 years of age, 2 World Cup podiums. Please don't forget that the 2 podiums for this Italian racer came in Kitzbühel on both occasions, 2023 and in 2024. So the rougher and tougher, the better for Schida. And at 29 years of age, looking for a good start, looking for his first World Cup points of the season. Juice the skis on that rolling terrain to the flyaway. Then over the drop-off you come onto the brink. 70 miles per hour cutting across the talon turns. slipping away. Half a second, 0.86 now off the pace for Shida. You've got to be coming into the closeout no more than 0.8 off the pace if you're looking to crack the top 5. Solid through Pete's Arena. But the errors on the upper section take their toll on the performance from the second of the Italian races. Good, strong finish. But 131.31 has Flo Shida out of the top 10 and sitting in 11th position.
Looking beautiful out there, hanging up. She's trying to finish a big bird.
This is a man to watch. On the comeback from injury, Cameron Alexander for Canada. He's 28 years of age, 56th World Cup start here today. A World Cup winner, don't forget, and 5 podiums. It's such a shame for Cameron, taking 3rd position in the Kitzbühel downhill, only to pick up an injury. But he's back for the Olympic season, and he was skiing beautifully here yesterday in the final practice session on the Birds of Prey. Very nice control and timing of the turn on Talent. The Whistler Mountain Ski Club, like so many of Canada's top racers, a little bit off the pace, 0.99. But in a comeback race, if Cameron can find the top 10, it'll be the confidence boost that he needs. And that top position in training yesterday is the first stepping stone to rekindling that fire, that self-belief and confidence. Like many here today, it's a comeback, a 40-meter flight off the Golden Eagle, heading into the finish line. And I think the coaches, and including head coach John Cachera for the Canadian speed team, will be happy with that. Into 9th position, and the best of the Canadians so far.
So have a fast speed, and this guy knows how to turn him for sure, but just a little grimy, just a little dirty. And today you can't be dirty. On this Colorado snow, you got to be super clean.
Babinski from Styria in Austria. Brilliant start to his speed season on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour with 4th spot in the Super G of Copper Mountain last week. It's a very tall, long-levered athlete. I think just behind Bryce Bennett, 2nd tallest on the Men's World Cup.
Go.
You can see that the snowpack is getting a little bit rough and rutted. Brush off all this beautiful fresh Colorado powder snow, and there's an icy, very, very firm, due to the cold temperatures, racetrack underneath. And again, Babinski just a split second off with the timing here. In Pete's Arena, heading and preparing for the Golden Eagle jump. Odermatt was almost floating through the steep pitch of Tallinn. And for Babinski now, just hold the pace. "39-meter flight, good early ski to snow contract off the Golden Eagle." Yeah, 14th position. So often the make or break. Starting to look more relaxed, isn't he? Let's watch Bryce Bennett carefully and hear from the American Team Radio.
More or less. You know how to ski this hill. Just attack this thing, commit to yourself. Believe in yourself, have fun.
just attack this thing. This is Bryce Bennett, a two-time World Cup winner. But what's a little frustrating for Bryce, his World Cup victories have only come in one resort. Val Gardena. Both of his World Cup wins have come in the Italian Dolomites. He's getting quicker and more focused in resorts like Wengen, where he was 6th last season, Kvitfjell, where he was 7th. Coached by Mark Tilston, of course. 15th year on the team.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And of course, proud father this past summer. But for Bennett, with some words of wisdom on the American team radio from Ryan Cochran-Siegel, who holds 2nd spot. Well, that's a lovely shot from the drone. Ooh, Bennett in a little bit of trouble there. Just not quite getting the clean purchase and arc against the turning ski. You could hear them rattling on the icy snow that is now starting to cut and rut. Top 10 has got to be the target for Bryce here right now. Huge support from for the Stiefel American team here. Clock goes to over 2 seconds. And that is Bryce out of the top 10, sadly. Bennett stops the clock at 1:32.04 seconds. Bennett goes into 18th position.
Lots of celebrities down there. Stephen Nyman checking out the big third as we see a little bit of the replay. Using that long leg into the talon turn. Very important to keep that weight there, absorbing it all as he kind of runs through his run.
Stefan Eichberger for Austria. Another skier that made his breakthrough into the top flight of World Cup competition last season. A 6th in Val Gardena, a 7th in Crans-Montana. And that has earned him this top 22 start number today. Bib 20, this of course on course. Only his 19th World Cup start here today for the 25-year-old. He's from the Steiermark region of Austria. Ooh. Those skis are working nicely, aren't they, on the flyaway upper section? Just 100th. Lovely commitment there on the talent. Diving down the mountain. Second sector split here. 0.62. This is good skiing from Eichberg. Looking confident. Getting good purchase on the turning ski, and can he maintain this pace now for a top 5 position? He's bringing the speed off the steep pitch now, preparing for the Golden Eagle jump. Sector 3 still 0.65. Sector 3 has him on the podium right now as Stefan Eichberger heads into the Stiefel banner, flies off the Golden Eagle. Ooh, just loses a little on those tech turns coming into the big jump. But this is good work from Stefan Eichberger of Austria. 7th position. Big PB in North America for the Austrian racer.
Well done effort for him. All right, Eichberger, the youngster, making moves.
Yeah, that's nice work from Eichberger. Lovely balance and confidence on these steep upper turns. Look at him arcing those head skis. The fearless Finn is Elian Leito. Here's another skier that's made a breakthrough on the downhill tour last season with a PB of 10th position in the World Cup race in Crans-Montana. Now, why do I mention that one? Because Crans-Montana will be hosting the World Championships, as well as the World Cup Tour this season, but the World Championships in 2027. So you start to get a good confidence boost and feeling on a World Cup track that then hosts the World Championships. You really are ready to rumble come that big 2 weeks in February of 27. And Leito here cutting a good line. Nice and accurate. Spends a lot of his time training with the Swiss team. And some of that Swiss speed magic is rubbing off. Got to keep it under a second now for a top 8 finish. Under 1.2 to hit the top 10. And 1.25, just about good enough. England, the former head coach for the Swiss team, has worked so hard to bring Elian Leto up to scratch. So they're best of friends on and off the slope. 1.62, 15th position. That's a good start to the new season for the Finnish downhiller.
And a good job for him. All right, don't come on, Beaver Creek, top 15 for the Finns. Skiing all by himself, training all by himself, and making success. He's going to come down into the finish area, back up to the top.
This is Marco Kilde, 28-year-old Swiss racer.
Let's go, Marco.
He too hit his first top 10 last season on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup in Bormio, Italy. Now that is the World Cup race beast that becomes the Olympic race beast in February of 2026. But of course, for Marco, he needs big results to catch the eye of the Swiss team Olympic selectors. You're only allowed 4 skiers per discipline per nation at the Winter Olympics. And that Olympic selection will eventually become the talk of the town in the races, the downhill races before Christmas, and then into the classics in the new year of Wengen, Kitzbühel. Just gets pitched a little in talent, out of position. And again, you can see the flames of the arms. Just a little off with the timing. And it takes its toll on the split. 1.3 off the pace. Just outside of the top 10 at Sector 2 for the 28-year-old Swiss racer Marco Kilde. There's the Golden Eagle jump. Not as big as we've seen in years gone by. And then there is the lowered start finish. Finish gate, I should say, my apologies. Kilde comfortably on the points, but a little off the pace. This is where it's just a little wild. See him getting bucked and kicked. That was where Odermatt was so smooth and clean. Currently leading for the Swiss team, sets the target time at 1 minute 29.84 seconds. Only racer to go sub 1:30. Ryan Cochran-Siegel is in second position for the United States of America, 0.3 of a second behind the world number 1. Serosted third for Norway. Franjo von Almen is fourth. That third position still there for an outsider to take. Odie, who's won here in Super G, but never in downhill, could be starting the downhill season with a huge confidence-building result. Again, some interesting racers in this next group. Brody Seeger for Canada with 29, fast in training. Also Lars Rushdie, we're told by the Swiss coaches, my apologies, also very good before we came to Beaver Creek here, Colorado. Let's go to the Slovenian team radio. Nežna Ralošnik, 26-year-old Slovenian racer. Wind is picking up here. There's a new storm heading its way. to Beaver Creek, the weathermen tell us. Now, Naraloshnik with a top 10 result in Kilde to close out the downhill season for 2025. The wind is not helping at all. It's also blowing the snow off the trees, just affecting the visibility. Look at the speed, lovely speed for the Slovenian on the flyaway opening section. Lovely gliding skills, not affected by the gusting winds at all, and takes the green light at sector 1. 300ths quicker than Audi. Now this is where Audi excelled with some spectacular ski technique. And for the Slovenian from Ljubno, loses it. He's a little low and late in the turn, also looking just a little nervous and cautious down that steep pitch of the Talon. Now 1.5 seconds off the pace. Coming out of Pete's Arena now, setting up for the Golden Eagle jump. Easily recognizable with the Stiefel banner there. Not bringing a lot of speed, so the flight wasn't that big. Naraloshnik, 21st position. World Cup points from 1 to 30, remember. He'll get 10 points if he holds 21st position, the Slovenian downhiller. Not really where he wanted to be fair. Now here's Lars Rösti. Well, we're told by the Swiss coaches very strong in training. Let's see if Lars can convert it to the opening downhill of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup. A spectacular top 10 result in Wengen last season, 8th position. And of course, for any Swiss racer, a big result in your home major of the Tour is always something special. Also took top 10 in Sutia Val Gardena. Here we go. Onto the brink. Now the Talon turn. This flat to steep. 54% gradient, the steepest part of this part of the racetrack here on the Birds of Prey. The buzzing of the drones. And it's slipping away for Lars Rösti. This will not be a top 10 result in the season opener for the 27-year-old Swiss skier. Needs to control the jump. Just hoping to make or find a spot in the top 30. Lars Rösti 3.2 seconds behind Odermatt, 24th position. Austrian Team Radio.
Der Wind ist total unterschiedlich herum. Ja, immer wieder so Böen.
Yeah, the wind is picking up. The clouds are moving very fast. Look at the top of your screens here now. This is Max Museton for the French team. Became a father in the off-season. Delighted with the birth of his son, Oscar. His partner, the former French women's team skier, Natasha Noens. Never better than 16th here for Max. At 35 years of age now, 144 World Cup starts. Nothing wrong with the Rossignol skis on the flyaway upper part gliding section. He was in the top 10 in Kitzbühel last season as well, so onto brink and Talon shouldn't be too much of a problem for Museton. Gotta keep it under a second. Come on, Max, dig deep here. 113, 115. 118 kilometers per hour through the speed gun. Just shy of 75 miles per hour. Keeps a good consistent flow here, Museton. Still 1.39, top 15 breakthroughs on the cards here for Max Museton. We don't have any French racers, but 13th position. Well skied, Max. Just behind Nils Allegre, two French racers, 12 and 13. PB for the Frenchman here on the Birds of Prey of Beaver Creek. Nils Allegre there applauding in the finish area. Let's stay with the French team. Blaise Guizendane, 7th here in 2024. Or the 25 season, of course. That will give Blaise a real feel of confidence. He's from Les Ouches in the Chamonix Valley. Mom Sarah, former British team racer. Dad Eric, born in London till he was 13, to be honest. But has grown up through the French racing system. And I'm a real fan of his aerodynamic shape. There's this wonderfully efficient and effective tuck, as we call it, egg position, they used to call it in the old days. Nice and smooth, good clean work through the talon turn. Carrying good speed here as well. I'm interested to see what Guizendane's second split time is. 1.44, currently in 13th position. Of course, for Blaise on the comeback from injury after the Bormio races. This time last year, picked up an injury and was out for the rest of the tour. But so Guizendane just looking to find his race pace and confidence here today in the first downhill of 9 on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. And this is a good, solid comeback for the Frenchman. 2.33. Oh, that's a bit cruel. Standing a little tall in one or two of the turns. Guizendane stops the clock at 1:32.34, 25th position, 2.5 seconds down on our leader marker, Odermatt, whose time of 1:29.84. Only racer to go sub 1 minute 30. He's looking better and better.
To one of the most veteran skiers ever, Roman Baumann. He was Austrian. Now who's he ski for, Peter? Germany, I think. I think he was born in Hochfelden, Austria.
So Roman Baumann next in the gate, veteran German racer. Started off his career racing for Austria, of course, as a youngster, switched to Germany where he's been very happy. One of the oldest men on the tour at 39 years of age, and 377 World Cup starts after today's competition. 2 World Cup victories, 11 podiums. He just needs to use his experience here today. Yes, it's a little gusty. Yes, it's not the ideal racetrack length. He went to school near Saalbach, believe it or not, where we hosted the World Championships of 2025, and spent most of his career on that mountain, a multiple Austrian champion as a junior. Then made the switch from Austria to Germany. And the Austrian miss him, the Germans love, I'm told. This is the story of Baumann. He's almost like the father figure to the young guns, and they've got some very talented young speed skiers coming through from Germany. World Junior champion. Is it Bernd Rosell? Bernd Rosell, who won the World Junior downhill title for Germany last season. And this guy is mentoring a lot of the youngsters from the German squad. So the coaches are happy to have him on tour. 1.85 last season, hoping to do enough to qualify for the German Olympic team. And I'm pretty sure Romed will end up going into the coaching world. A great ambassador for German racing. This is Ottmar Striedinger wearing bib 28 for the Austrian team. Fastest of the Austrians so far, Vincent Kriechmeier holding 5th position.
faster on court.
No better than 30 for Striedinger, which was a little frustrating last season, considering that he's got 5 career podiums. He's now 34 years of age. Another skier considering hanging up the boots after this Olympic season. I think the key part to Striedinger's story is you have to go back to 2021. 22, I should say, to find his last podium on the World Cup Tour. He's low and late in the line. He's battling against the mountain here. You see the big plume of snow that the drone just flies straight through from 0.23. Good speed from the skis on the flyaway, but now 1.48 off the pace. You need to be 1.27 or under to crack the top 10. Light conditions changing just a little as well. Storm clouds are looming here in Beaver Creek, Colorado once again. And the gusting wind is also making life difficult for these later starters. Otmar Striedinger out of the top flight here today. 27th position. I'm not sure whether that time of 1:32.59 will be good enough to bring home some World Cup points from this first downhill of the season.
So much terrain has been built into this course. I love it. It is not a cruiser, that is for sure.
Yeah, the Austrians who looked so strong in Copper Mountain at Super G and Giant Slalom last weekend, not looking so good here today. Kriechmeier still the fastest for the Austrian team, holding 5th position.
Thanks for being with us today. Great pleasure to have you with us.
Back to the top of the Birds of Prey. Canada are in the gate. This is Brody Seeger. Looked good here in training. Brody was second in the first of the 2 practice sessions. And from a start number of 49, took 10th position in this race last year. Best result of the Tour. And let's see if Brody can work the magic on those skis again right at the start of the 26th season. And the comeback from injury, Cameron Alexander holds 10th position, and I'm absolutely delighted for Cameron in his comeback competition today. I have to say a similar story for Kilde as well, over 683 days away from the World Cup till the Super G last Friday. And Kilde's also in 11th position. He gets better and faster with every race. And this is good work from Brody. He's 29 years of age, out of the Whistler Ski Club. Oh, well skied, Brody Seeger. That is wonderful. 15th position, 1.48. Another big confidence boost for Brody, just the way he did it last year. Love the way he tucks the ski poles and hands behind the knees. It's not showboating, it's aerodynamics that he's looking for. Lost the top 30 races, Mattea Cassé. And I believe that after Cassé has finished his challenge, I think Odi will start to celebrate. Conditions just getting a little tougher now for these later numbers. The wind is the greatest concern. Storm clouds are gathering, more snow forecast for Beaver Creek, Colorado here tomorrow. We're hoping to get the Super G, which was originally scheduled for Saturday, but we're hoping to race the Super G Friday here tomorrow, because the worst of the weather will be here on Saturday. We don't think we'll be on the mountain at all. The forecast looks that bad. But it's great news for all of you skiers out there, because finally, after a very dry month of December and November for most of the resorts in Colorado, Mother Nature is starting to turn the Rocky Mountains white again. Now Cassé, his father, good story for you, was a very famous speed skier back in the 70s, Sandro Cassé, former coach to one of my ski racing heroes, Paolo de Chiesa. Now, Cassé is a World Cup winner and has 4 podiums. And that World Cup victory came in the Super G discipline in Val Gardena, where the men's speed tour will be in a couple of weeks' time. They're heading to Val d'Isère next weekend for GS and slalom, and then Val Gardena on the classic Sasselon. 22nd position for Cassé of Italy, 1.89 seconds off the pace. Not bad, but not good, I would imagine. Cassé will call that one. Best of the Italians, as per usual, Dominic Paris, but here's our podium. Odermatt wins downhill for the first time in Beaver Creek. It's a great result for the USA and Ryan Cochran-Siegel. And Serstedt of Norway, perhaps the big surprise so far, taking 3rd position. Then we see Franjo von Allmen, Kriegmeier the fastest for Austria, Dominic Paris in 6th, the quickest for the Italian team. But it is Marco Odermatt taking his 2nd speed discipline win of the season. It was the Super G on Copper Mountain. Last week, it is the downhill here in Beaver Creek, Colorado, and he is the defending downhill and Super G champion. Marco Odermatt gets the perfect start to the speed season in North America. Great ski from Serstedt. I'm delighted for the Stiefel American team and Ryan Cochran-Siegel. But once again, Marco Odermatt grabs the headlines and is the star of the show in the Rocky Mountains, USA. Some good skiers still to go, and some skiers with a lot of experience as well. Raphael Haase and Adrien Théo are skiers to watch. I'm also looking forward to seeing a couple of youngsters, Fresque from the French team and Roy-Alexander Steuyle of the British team as well at the end of proceedings here. Track is a little cut and bumpy, but with Serstedt 0.69 off the pace of Marco Odermatt, that 3rd place podium position still could be pinched by one of these racers. Haase is definitely one of them. And I'm really impressed to see Haase moving up into downhill. 3rd position in the Super G. If the weather cooperates, he'll be one of the big favourites here tomorrow for the Super G race. And he skied beautifully in Copper Mountain to take that podium performance. Of course, he's the world giant slalom champion and the World Championship silver medalist in the Super G discipline, but now steps up to downhill. He was 25th in this race a couple of years ago, 20th last year, I believe. So he likes this track. And a good result here today could give Raphael Haase the confidence and the edge to race more downhills on the men's tour. I think he's a downhill hero in the making, to be honest. 1.17 off the pace. Here he comes. These tech turns in the mid part of the Birds of Prey will definitely suit Haase, one of the big pre-race favourites for the Super G here tomorrow. Look at that green light in the technical turns. He's one of the few that has the same skills as Odi to challenge. He just needs to learn to glide and find that comfort in the aerodynamic shape. Let's watch him off the Golden Eagle jump here now. Lovely. Top 20 is the target for Haase here today. It's a big dress rehearsal for the Super G tomorrow. Raphael Haase, 19th position. Mission accomplished. PB for Haase in downhill here on the Birds of Prey. And that will boost his confidence for tomorrow's Super G. Swedish Team Radio. That is Felix Monson. It's a great story for the lone Swedish downhill racer. He's sponsored by the Londoner. That's right, the Londoner pub in Kitzbühel sponsors Felix Monson. Many thanks to David Jameson and his team from the Londoner for really not only sponsoring but supporting. They're here on tour as part of the Monson team. Now, let's go to Julie Almo Bosca for Italy. Another racer on the comeback from injury and got off to a beautiful start last week in Copper Mountain, just about a half an hour's drive on the Interstate I-70 here in Beaver Creek. 8th position in that Super G. This is his first downhill on that injury comeback. Missed the whole of the 25 season. And I think the target for Bosca here today, 32-year-old Italian, is just to crack the World Cup points in his first downhill. Looked a little nervous, understandably tentative, but each and every race Bosca gets more confidence. 29th position, top 30 World Cup point score was the target today. Let's hope that Guglielmo Bosca holds on to that position. Is Adrien Théo, one of the oldest men on the tour at 41 years of age. 330th World Cup start for Adrien. 3 World Cup wins, 13 podiums. Now, Adrien. We've seen him in the top 10 here in the downhill before. He's got so many stats. There's an 8th position for Théo. So at least 2-3 top 10s for Théo on the Birds of Prey. One last roll of the dice for this personable Frenchman. He's a great skier. He really has been a great ambassador for the French team, originally out of Val Thorens in the Trois Vallées. Family man. He's had, like most of the world's best downhillers, many crashes and many comebacks. Théo, one more Olympic Games is what he's after. Ooh, he's just missed the points, hasn't he? 31st position for Adrien Théo. Now let's watch Livio Hiltbrand carefully. Europa Cup champion of last season. Also the World Junior champion. Back in 2024 in downhill, he's won the Europa Cup. Real talent for the Swiss team. I think he was 2-3 times World Junior champion. He's from the Simmental Valley near Schönried. And a ski resort made famous by Michael von Gruninger. Made his debut on the World Cup Tour last season. PB of 17th position, only his 9th World Cup start here today. Now let's see if the 22-year-old young rising star of the Swiss camp can claim some points in the season opener. For those of you that follow the calendar closely, originally we were hoping to have a double downhill and a Super G here. The weather has taken that opportunity away from us. But the constant downhill from here will be rescheduled in Val Gardena, December the 18th, on Thursday, December the 18th. Well, the finishing story and time for Livio Hiltbrand, just outside of the points for the young Swiss challenger.
5, 4.
Felix Monson, here's that story that I was telling you about from the Londoner. I love it. Obviously, the Londoner pub in Kitzbühel is famed for its big party after the downhill. 4 of the podium performers stripped naked, not totally naked, just the upper bodies, and serve all the drinks behind the bars. It's a wonderful concept. I spent some time yesterday with David Jamieson, with Palamine, and the owner of the Londoner, and they've decided to help Felix Monson. He's got some of his bar staff out here helping as coaches on the mountain. And David is on tour with Felix for most of the World Cup circuit. Kind of a handy sponsor to have, isn't it, really, for Felix? The owner of one of the best bars in Kitzbühel, but he needs to let the skiing do the talking for now. Monson, of course, is on the comeback from injury, racing all alone, raising his own funds to train. Oh, that's tough for Felix. Just missing the points there, Monson. 31-year-old Swedish racer going into 31st position. 36 is Jan Zabistrand. Now, for those of you that were following us live on FIS TV this time last season, from bib number 54, Jan took 11th position in the downhill and 12th position in the Super G. His best results of the season, bar one, when Jan finally cracked the top 10 in Super G in Kvitfjell. In the points in the opening Super G of the season in Copper Mountain. So, Zabi Schramm for the Czech Republic, former junior world champion, starting to make his mark here now, 27 years of age. Could this be the big breakthrough for the Czech racer? For me, Odermatt has done enough here. Doesn't look like the track is getting any quicker or slicker at all. If anything, it's getting rougher and tougher for these later bib numbers and lower ranked racers. And the 36-year-old, bib 36 Czech racer goes 26, 2.05. Jan has scored points in both of his starts so far this season. Solid, I would say, start to the new tour. Here's another great story. Christoph Innerhofer, winner here of the downhill back in 2012, veteran of the Italian team at 40 years of age. Little similar to the story of Adrian Theo. One last dance, one last start at the Olympic Games for Christoph Innerhofer, one of the great characters and good guys of the World Cup Tour. 340th World Cup start. Picked up a couple of points in the opening Super G in Colorado last weekend with a 29th position. When he won here in 2012, he beat Axel Lund Svindal and Kjetil Jansrud into second and third position. And then the Italian victory on the Birds of Prey downhill track. Dominic Paris, of course, their fastest, lying in 6th position. Top 30's got to be the target here for Innerhofer. Heading into the Golden Eagle flight now. 34 metres, good early snow contact. Innerhofer stops the clock in 35th position. 2.79 seconds off the pace. So good to see Christoph going for one more season. A winner here 13 years ago. Wiley Maple for the USA. Another independent racer from North America. From Aspen, Colorado. Hasn't had to travel too far to work today. Raises his own money. PB, I think, is 12th position on the World Cup Tour for Wiley Maple. That was in the 24 season. And certainly got the experience of the Colorado snow, this very dry, some people call it aggressive snow condition. It takes a real touch and feeling to efficiently carve the ski. And great to see the support for Wiley Maple on his way down into the closeout here. Just needs to keep the focus for the Birds of Prey jump. There it is. Wiley Maple out of the points, unfortunately. Look at the mist and fog that's starting to move up the mountain now. That's making visibility in the closeout tough. 3.03 seconds off the pace of our winner today, Marco Odermatt. There's a nice manoeuvre, isn't it, on the talent turn. Jeffrey Reed for Canada, the son of the legendary crazy Canuck Ken Reed. brother Eric Reed racing on the Tech Tour. And his brother Eric, hopefully, if the storm isn't too heavy, will be racing the giant slalom here on Sunday. And I think there's 4 NORAMs on this racetrack. As soon as the World Cup heads off to its next stop, the men are heading to Val d'Isère, the women are heading to Saint Moritz next week. And the ladies, of course, the double giant slalom in Mont Tremblant, Canada. That's a race that a lot of you I know are looking forward to. But they keep the racetrack and the piste condition and race 4 NORAMs. That's the second tier of competition here in North America, and some valuable experience for the youngsters. Unfortunately for Jeffrey Reed of Canada, no points scored today. Remember, top 30 is the target to put World Cup points on the board. This is Benjamin Alliot, Italian racer. Ooh, he's gone low, late, deep in the line there. Almost climbing back up the mountain in Tallinn. And Benjamin Alliot for the Italian team at 25 years of age, just struggling. If you get out of that all-important race line, there's still a lot of soft snow falling. Visibility is deteriorating just a little. It's getting a little darker there on the track. The sun is being covered by the cloud, making it just a little more testing to find the all-important racing line. 34th position for Benjamin Jacques Alliot for Team Italy.
All right, we've got 4 more people, ski skiers coming. Jared Goldberg, pick number 47.
This is Simon Joche of Germany. I was impressed with the way Simon attacked the Copper Mountain race piece last week. He took 20th position. 20th position is 11 World Cup points. He has a World Cup downhill PB of 13th. And picked up that on the Olympic track of Podium in the Italian Alps, of course. And he's from Schongau, grew up as a youngster in Garmisch. Family of ski racers. He had a big crash here, and many of you might remember in 2023 with a serious concussion, broken ribs. I think there's a punctured lung as well, so I think part of the game plan here today for the 29-year-old German skier is to lay that ghost to rest. Taking a good year to make his comeback, so it's good to see Simon Joche finally winning the battle on the Birds of Prey. 2.95 off the pace, 38th position.
Back behind their leader. So I'm not seeing a lot of rush up there. Doing a great job by the challenge crew, keeping us safe.
This is Niccolò Molteni, 27-year-old Italian racer who picked up points in the opening Super G of the season. Just joining us live here on FIS TV. This is the first downhill of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup for 2026, round 1 of 9. We were hoping to have a double here, but the storm clouds are forecast, and you can see them coming even earlier than they'd predicted. We were hoping for sunshine throughout the day today, but a big snowstorm forecast for Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday here. Those big early season pre-snowstorms that we get in this part of the world. But for Molteni, top 30 is the target now. And with these deteriorating light and tougher piste conditions, if you can crack the top 30, you've had a really good day on the mountain. And Molteni's 27 years of age. Like most of the B-team racers moving up to the 18 for the new season. He knows he's under pressure to catch the attention of the Olympic team selectors for Italy. Ooh, that was unlucky. 34th position, 2.68 seconds. off the pace of Marco Odermatt that's wrapped up this race, I'm sure. Visibility not so good. Just be aware of it. Yep, the Swiss team coach is agreeing with our thought process here in the commentary box of FIS TV, that the storm clouds are already upon us. Now, Fredrik Muller is a skier to watch very carefully for Norway. 5th in the opening Super G of the season in Copper Mountain. He was the new find for the Vikings on the tour last season, collecting his first World Cup victory in Super G in Bormio, where we will race the Olympic Games next February. Finished 5th in the Super G Tour standings. It's from the Oppdal Ski Gymnasium, where many of Norway's top racers have come from, including Axel Lund Svindal, former multiple winner here in Beaver Creek. And a lot of people, maybe a little too soon, have tipped this young lad, at just 25 years of age, as the new Svindal for Norway. Very similar tall body makeup and style and technique over the skis. He's definitely got the confidence in Super G. Not so much in downhill yet, but there you go. He'll take that with a smile. 29th position, points on the board. And if we get a Super G here tomorrow, this gentleman will be a skier to watch and follow.
5, 4.
Alessio Migiano for the Swiss team. Now, his parents own a pretty famous restaurant near Zurich called Rubicon, Michelin star restaurant. Mum Rita is the sommelier. Father Domenico is from southern Italy, master chef. And this young lad, a talented footballer, until 14 years of age, he was playing for FC Zurich, and then took the decision to become a ski racer rather than a soccer player. Huge talent, real strength and depth to the Swiss team. And this young lad, in only his 4th World Cup start here today. Good split times. Top 30 again is the target, but 2.43 is just outside of that. Struggling with the aggressive snow. You can see he's putting 1 or 2 turns in instead of that smooth, clean line. But a skier for me, definitely to watch, Alessio Migiano. Learning the all-important classic racetracks of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. Go back to the French team. This is Nils Alphon, the son of the great French downhiller Luc Alphon, who won the big Crystal Globe in 1997 and was 3 times the downhill champ. I'm sure Nils gets really annoyed living in the shadow of his father. Such a character, such a superstar on the World Cup. Of course, his sister Estelle races for Sweden. It's the fact that his mum is of Swedish birth. Ooh, a little wild. You see the hand come up above the helmet. Almost went down on the inside there, and that's because he can't read the roller as the white snow starts to blend with the grey clouds of the skyline. Visibility is a lot trickier for these later numbers than it was for the higher ranked early racers. Nils Alphon, not a bad ski at all for Nils, 33rd position, and lucky not to pick off a few World Cup points. And for all the French ski race fans, 12th and 13th. The fastest of the French skiers so far, Nils Allegre, the quickest. Max Musaton just behind him in 13th position. Martin Scharter for Slovenia. Martin again on the comeback from injury. And Martin Scharter won his one and only World Cup race in 2021 from bib number 41 in Val d'Isère, France. 1.88 seconds off the pace at sector time too. But difficult now for these racers to read the bumpy terrain. Visibility really going against the skiers right now. The blue corridor and the dye in the snow will help. Choice of the right goggle lens will also help, but it's tough out there now. '45th position for Martin Schotter of Slovenia.
45th position.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The American fans have all waited patiently in the finish area to see if Jared Goldberg can cause an upset here. Goldberg was on the podium for the first time in his career last season in Val Gardena in Super G, the discipline that we're hoping to race here on the Birds of Prey tomorrow. Glimpses of brilliance and magical moments, but he's 34 years of age now, Goldberg, originally from Holiday, Utah, USA. Here's a good stat for you. I remember when he was the fastest in Borneo one season at 139 kilometers per hour, about 87, 88. So he's certainly got good speed in those skis if he can find the right place and moment. But again, like many before him, struggling with these flat light conditions, struggling to read the piste and the terrain. Goldberg heads into the Golden Eagle jump, or the Stiefel jump. Sponsor of the American team, Ron Kuzensky, doing such a good job for winter sport in North America. Not Goldberg's day today, 47th position.
3.91. Had some good spots up there, Jared did, but just couldn't put the whole run together. He'll look at the video, he'll look at the time, figure it out.
48 is Giovanni Franzoni for the Italian team. Watch this lad carefully. A very talented junior, former world junior champion, gold medal in Super G 21, gold medal in downhill at the juniors in 2022. And was 13th last week in Copper Mountain. It's given him a real confidence boost. Perhaps most importantly, Giovanni was 4th in the Super G here in Beaver Creek, Colorado last year, from bib number 39. So he lists this already as one of his favorite pistes. He likes this aggressive Colorado-style snow. Now, here he is. Like many of the skiers, hoping that the Super G tomorrow does not get beaten by Mother Nature. There is a big snowstorm forecast, but the weather moves so quickly here as well, something we've noticed in Colorado. Good skiing from Franzoni. 29th position. World Cup points on the board for the Italian young gun. Eric Arvidsson. It's good to have Eric back on the tour after picking up an injury last season just after Val Gardena. World Junior Champion again out of the Middlebury College. English heritage, thus the name Arvidsson. Home resort is Palisades, Tahoe. So, Californian racer. Very strong in the opening turns, nice. 1.6 off the pace in sector 2. Getting a good high early line. Carrying good speed. Off that steep pitch. This is excellent work. Oh, there's the first little mistake. Pinches the line a little tight. Top 30 is the target for Arvidsson on his comeback race from injury. 2.68 now. Over the Stiefel. Golden Eagle jump. Solid comeback race from Eric Arvidsson. 44th position.
0.08 back. All right, put your hands together. You don't know what the time is when you put it on the line. Kyle,
And this is Kyle Niegomir, very much the local hero here in Beaver Creek, Colorado. His mum and dad part of the Talon crew, they call the Peace Prep team here in Beaver Creek, Colorado. Coming off the back of a little sickness, he still managed to take 24th position in the Super G in Copper Mountain, our opening speed race of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup. But the word is that he's got a respiratory inflammation. And you can see him here again, just getting bumped and kicked by the racetrack, dropping him a little low and late in the line. Therefore, he's holding on to that turning ski a little longer. It's a slower pathway down the mountain, and that's where the tenths are being added to the time. Top 20 is the target in Super G, I would say, for Niegomir this season. And Kyle stops the clock, 45th position. Plenty of local support for Niegomir. 51 is Marco Pfiffner from Liechtenstein, from Mauren. Marco Buchel was second in the downhill here back in 2008, beaten by Svindong. So there's a good connection for the Liechtenstein racers here in Beaver Creek, Colorado. And of course, Marco Buchel now a celebrated commentator for German television and working very closely with the Liechtenstein Ski Federation. I hope it's only a matter of time before Marco takes over as the president of the Liechtenstein Ski Federation. I think it would be a wonderful position and great for the sport in his home country. And Marco Pfiffner, yeah, does well. 48th position, 3.48. Not hitting the top 30 World Cup point score in tough conditions. Still only 3.5 off the pace. 52 is Andreas Ployer. Another newcomer to the the Austrian World Cup team. Just a 24th World Cup start here today for Ployer. All of that soft snow is brushed off. It's rock hard and icy underneath. Here the skis. There's a bit of a pressure, I'd say, Ployer, a late developer for the Austrian squad. It's good that the Austrian team are sticking with him. Only 23 World Cup starts at 28 years of age. But so often patience can be the name of the game with racers on the World Cup circuit. And Ployer here, a respectable time at Sector 3, 1.72. The red light, remember, tells us that they're off the pace of the current leader. Green light tells us that they're quicker. And Ployer here stops the clock. Not bad at all. 38th position, 132.57. Getting very excited in the finish area for Sam Morse of the United States of America. Next skier on course, 29 years of age. They call him Moose. 2017 World Junior Downhill Champion. Carabasset Academy, where Bodie went to, I believe. Bodie Miller, of course, North American downhill winner here. Americans given plenty of reason to cheer. Ryan Cochran Siegel takes second position behind Marco Odermatt here today. Great results for the Stiefel American team. target now for Moose, top 30. But he's missed the top 30 points here today, but good ski from Moose, 44th position, 3.03 seconds behind our Swiss leader.
All right, stay in the mood, Morris into the finish. It looked good to me strong on that outside ski. Just couldn't find the speed, but this is a learning experience.
10 races left to challenge for Chile. This is Henrik von Appen, 30-year-old from Santiago, out of the Andes Chile Ski Club. His best World Cup form comes in Super G, 14th position. Which resort was it in? This one, here, Beaver Creek, Colorado. So it would be no big surprise to see Henrik von Appen break into the top 30 here today. Super G has favoured discipline, using this as a rehearsal for tomorrow's scheduled Super G race here. Slight shift in the scheduling and calendar, as we mentioned at the top of our show. With the worst of the storm forecast on Saturday, we're going to run the Super G tomorrow, weather permitting. Then watch the snowfall on Saturday, raced giant slalom on Sunday. 2.38 off the pace for Henrik von Appen. Good control. Holds his aerodynamic shape off the Golden Eagle jump. Can he make the top 30 here, von Appen? 34th position. Great ski from Henrik. Well done, Chile. Good performance indeed. Sets himself up nicely for the Super G here tomorrow. He was 14th last year. Here's a Canadian racer that I'm very interested to see. First time in Beaver Creek. This is Raphael Lessard. He's from the Bromont Ski Club of Quebec. He went to the Burke Mountain Academy and the University of Utah. He's the NORAM champion of 2025 in downhill and Super G. And that is the second tier of racing. You may have heard me mention earlier that the NORAMs will be racing here on this very piste. Oh, but Lessard almost gets crunched there. Great recovery for the 24-year-old. Only his 5th World Cup start. But the second tier of racing, which we call the NORAM when it's in North America, the Europa Cup when it's in Europe. I think it's 4, 2 downhills, 2 Super Gs, or 4 or 5 races I was being told. But I really think that's a super thing for the local organising committee to do here. Support the second tier, give them a chance of learning World Cup racetracks. And congratulations to Beaver Creek, Colorado, and of course Chief of Race Ronald Rupert for supporting the NORAM Tour. Steep learning curve for Raphael Lessard of Quebec, Canada. But a good recovery nonetheless.
There, take a screenshot of that. He survived it. Back up to the start, pin number 50.
French racer Mathieu Bellet. Now, 29-year-old Frenchman. Now, where was he on the podium? I think it was quite a while ago. Let me see if I can find his one podium against his name. I think it was a Super G in Saalbach. Back in 2021, he took 2nd position, Bellet. Another skier that struggled with injury. A lovely, nice touch against the turning ski. And Bellet, who's just looking to earn a few points, lower his world ranking here. That's a nice turn and move. Good clean jump off the Golden Eagle for Mathieu. Stops the clock. Ooh, that's not the speed that Bellet was hoping for. 52nd position. Almost 4 seconds behind Audi. who's wrapped up the opening downhill of the season here in Beaver Creek, Colorado. Manuel Tranninger. Now, Manuel, another racer out of the Steiermark region of Austria, made his World Cup debut last season. 25th in the Super G in Kitzbühel, 26th on the Olympic track of Bormio. Only 15th World Cup start here today. Now, the Austrians wouldn't have brought him to North America if they didn't think he was skiing with good speed and tempo pace in training. Kriechmeier, the best for the Austrian team, currently holding 5th spot. That's not going to change. I think the top 10 you can pretty much confirm now. Just a few races left to close out this first downhill of the tour. But Tranninger, target is the top 30. Lower the world ranking, improve the start number. Now, 48th position. Not looking like a good race for the high numbers to break into the top flight here. A little bit of sunshine once again in the finish area, but still the visibility is tough. Let's go to Slovenia. Rok Asno, 23 years of age, former world junior champion in downhill back in 2023. Rok gets them sideways there, has to make a giant slalom-type recovery mood. He's struggling, isn't he, with the racing line here. No shortage of speed. Now he regains the racing line. 1.74 off the pace. 23-year-old Slovenian skier from Koroška. Oh, and he's gone down with a heavy hit. Oh, and he's lost the helmet as well. Ruk Asnok. Race is on hold.
Interrupted here. We're going to take a short time out, and we'll be right back as we continue on.
Oh, and that is the first crash of the day here. Now, 26 races left to go as well. Ruk Asnok for Slovenia. But what's a little distressing is that he lost the helmet on impact with the snow in the head. Now, the protocol here is that the TV director will not go to the crash scene until we know it's nothing too serious. Nor will we see the replay until we're aware. Looked to have done all the work as well through Talon. And it looked like he took a tumble in Pete's Arena.
Well, Steve friends, want to keep you up to date on a new race schedule. Heads up about some...
Now there you can see the medical services attending to the young Slovenian.
Has been moved to Friday. The race will now, that's tomorrow. The race will now take place tomorrow at 11:15, weather permitting. Friday's race will start at the next time will follow weather start, meaning for the first time.
Well, it's a sad moment for a crash from the young Slovenian downhill. It's been a brilliant race. Marco Odermatt winning the opening downhill of the season. The perfect start for the defending champion. So good to see the host nation with a racer on the podium. That's Ryan Cochran-Siegel, RCS they call him, on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour, taking second position with Adrian Smyth-Serstedt of Norway taking third. Franjo von Allmen 4, Vincent Kriechmeier, the best of Austria 5, Dominic Paris, the best of Italy 6th. Well, the race is still on hold while the medical team sees to Rukasnoch of Slovenia.
Stephen Nyman, who the last time we had a podium here for the United States was Rio, 2014. What does it mean that we RCS sitting on the podium for the team?
As the French team, they've got Albanelise Canafarina next on course. Also, immediately after, Adrien Fresqui. Roy Alexander Steudel going through his warm-up there. Maximilian Schwarz for Germany. Integi for Spain. And then Johan Lyk for Estonia.
Today, team second. That was amazing to watch and becoming motivated. Maybe we can get back out there.
I think we can get back out there. So what has Stephen Nyman been up to since your retirement?
I'm just listening into the interview from the Finnish arena announcers there. They're chatting to Steve Nyman, the last American to finish on the podium here back in 2014. Last winner was Bodie Miller back in 2011. Good to hear Steve's voice once again. Triple World Cup winner in Val Gardena, Steve Nyman. And RCS finally, 10 years later, gets the American team on the podium here. Still on hold after the crash of Roch Asnoch of Slovenia. And there still appears to be continued medical assistance.
All right, we're going to come check you out. Look, Lee, what's going on? Well, it just so happens he's so fast. Look, boom, there's Noah. That's who he's talking about right there. 3 million birds? 3.5, baby. Self-ascended by yourself? All me. All the powering. And guys in shape right here. Awesome. Nice job. Congratulations. Yeah, we have $1 million check for you. We just don't know where to put it.
Well, the snow's getting better and better all the time across the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, USA. Heavy snow forecast for Friday, tomorrow, that is, Saturday and Sunday. But the weather moves so quickly here. It's been an interesting week to follow the weather forecasters. 50 centimeters of fresh snow since Monday, and a lot more forecast over the next 3 days. Now, we're hoping that the snow holds off, of course, so we can get Super G number 2 of 9 on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour away tomorrow. Then there's a giant slalom to be raced at the weekend. It'll probably be on Sunday. Saturday is the worst of the forecast days. Race is on hold if you're just joining us live here on FIS TV and FIS Radio, of course, after the crash of the 23-year-old Slovenian racer Roch Asnoch. Then we've got 2 French racers, Great Britain, Germany, Spain and Estonia to get this first downhill of the season in the book. First downhill victory here for Marco Odermatt. He's won here in Super G 3 times before, but most importantly, his first ever World Cup victory was here in Beaver Creek back in 2019 when he got the better of Kilde and Matthias Meyer. And he's come again and won for the first time in downhill here to kickstart his championship defense in downhill. Most impressive victory. The hold is still in place as the Slovenian downhill is still receiving medical attention. It's a tough wait for these racers at the back of the pack. Often the least experienced or skiers coming back from injury. You know that the delay is due to the fact that there has been a crash by one of the racers ahead of you. There's the 2 French skiers and Germany waiting in the tent. It's cold up there still. -10 to -12 degrees Celsius. There's Steve Nyman, just to the far left of your screen. Talking to Bryce Bennett in the white USA jacket, I believe. Good to see Steve. There's Kilde there as well. Camaraderie when you're at the bottom of a downhill track in a race like today's something quite special and unique. There's the Swiss team. Good to see Niels Hintermann back.
All the appropriate, everything's been taken care of to make sure the athlete is safe. That's the protocol, just to give you guys a heads up.
But the race is still on hold. Maybe the crash is a little more serious than we first thought. Or Asnoch still receiving medical attention on the racetrack.
The top is just an idea, Ron. Top is whatever you want it to be.
Isn't just a quick Mexican law. It's a theater with a story. Legend says it was discovered by accident by a group of surfers. We'll let you discover it for yourself. Pacifica on your own.
There's Odie. Easily recognizable with his sponsor's hat on. And Odermatt, brilliant start to the new season. Won the Super G in Copper Mountain last week. DNF'd in the GS, he was a little bit annoyed with that. But makes up for that disappointment with a win in the opening downhill of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour here today. Still no movement.
Hey there, everybody. Good day over in Houston. I'm with US Ski Team People member Sam Morris.
This is the start of the Birds of Prey downhill track.
The crowd kind of came in later on the race, but still really excited to be here racing. They did an awesome job with the hill, trucking it. Just with the ace of spare, they got it together. And thank you all fans for coming out here and cheering us on. Even though the fans were really high, we really appreciate it. It is quite a crowd. And our volunteers are just absolutely amazing.
Well, that's Ryan Cochran-Siegel in the white Stiefel Visa jacket of the American team with the black glasses, dark beanie.
Right here in Beaver Creek. So it's an Olympic year, big year for you. Congrats to Ryan Cochran-Siegel that clinched the seat today.
But the race is still on hold.
There's a few more seats left. You're gonna fight
Still
for
no
it.
news either.
Really looking forward to Valgardena next week. That's American favorite over in Italy, so tune in
And the race will not start until the medical team are happy. Maybe the helicopter.
But speaking of tall, you got a good personality with this. Jen is in charge of a lot to do with state world championships and a lot of races through the year. I bet you are grateful that you get a nice sigh of relief these days to visit this event as a spectator.
Yeah, actually, I'm volunteering because that's how much I love it.
Yeah, Odie in deep conversation with one of his teammates there.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time with him.
Not quite sure whether this will be a helicopter evacuation or a sled evacuation for Rock Asnoch. There's another camera angle looking up the mountain at the crash site.
The Colorado Ski and Snowboarding Museum, you're running that more or less. And if you're from out of town, you know nothing of it. Can you give us a little insight as to what it is and where it is, so people can go check out the Colorado Ski?
Still not showing the replay of the incident. Let's bring you up to date with the standings. Odie has won round 1 of 9. on the FIS Ski World Cup, with Ryan Cochran-Siegel, Serestedt making up the third position on the podium. Von Allmen 4, Kriegmeier 5, Paris 6. Good result for Eichberger in 7th position. Young Austrian skier going from strength to strength. Now Audi, who's been a little sick this past week in North America, don't really want to be standing around in the cold for too long.
Well, this year we had Alex McGinnis, and a couple weeks ago we had Seymour and Eric Gordon.
Yeah, QC, Vaughn was inducted, Gifford as well. Lots of
There it is, Rock Asnok's crash site, still with the medical assistance. And of course we still have, there's a Spanish skier, Mintegi, of course, and Rivera Mintegi, penultimate racer of the day. Still with the race on hold. And it looks like they've gone for the sled option to get the Slovenian racer down to the mountain and off to hospital.
Just go out there and trust myself. Thanks, you Williams kids. Have a great season this year.
Fans, media, camera crews all waiting patiently just to get this race in the book and the prize giving to begin. 6 left to challenge.
River will be racing tomorrow, Super G, 11:15. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, conditions are good. Crowd's been awesome, and we got some.
Out of the downhill track now.
You know, we have a new industry sponsor for the Steeple US Ski Game. It's the Army 10th Mountain Division, and that's really unique because you are actually a 10th Mountain Division descendant.
Yeah, my grandpa was in the 10th. You can't tell the story of the valley without 10th Mountain Division folks, so it's a pretty cool connection.
Did your grandfather actually did the assault on Riva Ridge?
Yeah, he was part of that. What we do is pretty easy for that, I think.
So it's quite a partnership this year, something to look forward to. They're going to build that story during the Olympics. We look forward to seeing you racing tomorrow and on the GS.
Yeah, I look forward to being here. Thanks, everybody.
Uncle Lee! Where are you, Uncle Lee? We're looking for you.
This thing is on. Awesome. Well, as once stated at Saturday Night Live, we need more cowbell. That's right, more cowbell. And here we are with Steve Switzerland that shows up incredibly early. What is your name? Where are you from?
I'm from Switzerland. But I lived in the States for 36 years, and these are my friends. And the Swiss Skiing Club of the Podium, and we go to the ski races.
6 racers left at the top of the Birds of Prey downhill track here in Beaver Creek. Trying to stay focused, trying to stay warm. It's been a long hold here. There's a 4-runner just going to check the safety of the racetrack before we continue with the last few runners. So the 4-runner is there just to check the conditions. It's a good shot. The clouds Still holding off.
For bringing these cowbells up here. He's buying everybody drinks later on. Yay! More cowbells! Give me some, give me some. Those things will knock your teeth out, right?
If anything, the visibility is a lot better now than it was before, and that could play to the advantage. It's Alban Elise Canafarina who will be next on the racetrack for the French team.
So my daughter was in Switzerland this year.
And then another French racer, Adrien Fresque. Then Great Britain's sole downhill and Super G racer on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup for this Olympic season is Roy Alexander Steudler, Maximilian Schwarz of Germany, and Rivera Mentegi for Spain, and Estonia, Johan Luke, to wrap it all up. Good to see Steve Nyman there in the finish area.
Moo. Yeah, you can't help but moo when you put one of these things on. Yeah, is this attractive right here? Yep, like my rubber chicken right there. Yeah. All right, so then you. All right, you guys get the idea right there. I feel. Oh yeah. Okay. We're gonna rock out with more cowbell, and then we'll be back to the racing. Just any final words you want to say in German to the Swiss TV that's not watching?
At 60, Adrien Fresque. 24-year-old. Comeback race from injury. Here's another very excited youngster, I have to say. We're ready to get this race back underway. It will be the 22-year-old French skier, Alban Elise Canafarina, in his 11th World Cup start.
Trying to figure out what it's like to race World Cup. Some very famous forerunners, and we've got forerunners on course.
Odermatt waiting patiently for the official prize ceremony.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right with you within 1 minute.
He's at the start, stripped down and ready to go, young Alban. Marcus Waldner just going through all of the correct procedures before allowing this race to close out. There he is, number 59. Clipping up 2023 World Junior Champion in Giant Slalom back in St. Anton. This lad, he's from Chamrus, skis for the Courchevel Ski Club. Of course, made internationally famous by Alexis Pinturault. Mum's Italian, she's a ski teacher. His dad is from Kosovo, and there is the connection with the name Elise. Now, I was really impressed with the way this young lad skied last week in Copper Mountain, Colorado, taking a top 20 result, 18th position. He's also put points on the board in the opening giant slalom in Solden back in late October. Confidence is building with every race. He's got a tough task here after a 15-minute hold easily.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And ironically, he was the silver medalist behind Ruk Asnoch, who just crashed out back in 2023. Ruk took the gold, and Alban took the silver in the World Junior Downhill Championship of that season. But this lad's technique is rock solid. We'll get to watch him from top to bottom as well due to the hold. He's already skiing in third position. Now, this is where you need to keep the focus after such a long delay. Hold the pressure on that left foot turn. Good top section from Alban. Clean. Cutting a good race line and showing no sign of nerves after hearing of the crash of his great friend from the Slovenian team. Top 30, that's the target for the 22-year-old. Maintain his solid point scoring that he has done so far this season. Like I said, top 20 in Super G last week in Copper Mountain. No problem, nothing wrong with this at all. And here's an indication that not only is this lad a very skillful skier, but he's got nerves of steel as well. Having to wait 15, 20 minutes before given the chance to start. Top 30, could it be for Canafarina? 37th position. One to watch, I would say, for the French team. Talented youngster.
4, 3.
Adrien Fresque, French skier, on the comeback from injury.
Allez, petit, allez!
26 years of age, 13th World Cup start here. He put some World Cup points against his name back on the 24 season in Kvitfjell, Norway. 29th, and that remains his best World Cup result to date.
Yeah, the first one.
.28 now, seconds off the pace. To hit that top 30, it's got to be under 2.32. He'll take. Oh, good skiing. 35th position. Yeah, the frustration of not making the top 30. Let's go to 61. Roy Alexander Stoidler for Great Britain. Britain's lone speed racer on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour for 2026. Actually born in Germany with German parents. Grew up in Whistler in his younger years, but after spending most of his schooling in Great Britain, took British citizenship. He's been our best speed skier on the World Cup Tour for many years now. Some really exciting split times in some of the major races over the years. He's an arts scholar and travels around the world training with various teams. No support, of course, from the Snowsport GB for Roy. He's racing all alone. World Cup PB, I think, is 36th position in the Supergiant Slalom of Kitzbühel. A good touch on the turning ski, Roy, and I hope he gets the success that matches the hard work and commitment that the 32-year-old has put into the sport. 5.42 off the pace, 60th position. Maximilian Schwarz for Germany. 22 years of age and only his 4th World Cup start here. Now one of a crop of talented youngsters. German team won the World Junior Championship of 2025 in both downhill and in Super G. They've got some promising youngsters coming through, and Max is the first of that group. And this is why they like having the veteran Romid Baumann on the team. He's kind of taken these young lads under his wing and really doing a good job with the help of head coach Christian Schweiger, sports director Wolfgang Meyer of the German team. Top speed through the closed gun there. Those skis are flying.
And here comes the German skier.
4.22, 60th position for Schwarz with just 2 to go.
4.22 back. Here we go, and then we're going to have our awards in the finish area.
5, 4.
Vamos, Andrés! ¡Ah! Pista.
Andamintigi of Spain. Another British coach working with the Spanish team this season, Noel Baxter. His older brother Alan Baxter working with the British team. So the Baxter brothers doing a great job in coaching some of the top nations on the tour. Now for Andamintigi Rivera, only his second World Cup start here today. Just missed the points in the Super G in Copper Mountain, I have to point out, where he skied into 38th position. Fearless. Good touch on the turning ski. Could be a prospect for the Spanish team. Ooh, a little wide out of the blue corridor. Just a little lack of experience on the racing line there.
All right, and he will be in 61st place.
3.9 seconds off the pace for Spain's sole speed skier here in Beaver Creek today. And the last to put this competition in the book of the 64 competitors is Juhan Liik of Estonia, another skier that is paying for his own program, financing his work on the World Cup Tour. He's a two-person team. Girlfriend is the coach. Tough pathway, but dedicated. I think Juhan's one of the unsung heroes of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. Top 20 in the World Championships of 23. Just outside the top 30 in Selbach Hinterglemm last season. 7th World Cup start. Reads the line well. Also works the terrain well. Just caught a little out of shape and balance off the final jump, but this is a good skier. Delighted to see Estonia as one of the 70 national ski associations or countries taking part in this opening downhill of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. 61st position. Well done, Juhan. Good to see some Estonian flags in the crowd.
156.79, our top three, Adrian, Isha, Norstead, our second place, Ryan, Huckry Steele from the
So, a brilliant first race of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour for downhill, and the defending champion has won the season opener. Odermatt is at the top of the table. Another win at speed after winning in Copper Mountain in the opening Super G of the season last weekend. And I'm delighted also for Ryan Cochran-Siegel. It's the Stiefel American team's first podium performance here in Beaver Creek since Steve Nyman came third in 2014-2015 season. Just off the podium, Franjo von Almen for Switzerland, Kriegmeier and Dominic Paris, that duo the fastest for the Austrian and the Italian teams. But Marco Odermatt's opening downhill as the defending champion was truly on point here today. Looking forward to seeing him ski that track with a replay, because his execution on the Steilhang of the brink to the Talon turn was most impressive indeed. It also takes him to the top of the downhill standings and the overall World Cup standings. It's a near perfect start to the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour for Marco Odermatt of Switzerland.
Marco Odermatt, congratulations after 2 downhill podium here in Beaver Creek. Finally, you can grab your first victory. How happy are you with your performance today?
Yeah, I'm very happy. Yes, 2 times second behind Alex and last year behind Justa. That was nice though, but yeah, now winning the first time here, the downhill. Yeah, I felt really good while skiing, especially the pitch was very good from my side. So yeah, it was a cool race for me.
Does the victory has a special meaning for you?
Yeah, every victory is special because it's always hard work to put you into this mood to really go for it. And also the last 2 downhill trainings, they weren't that easy with the visibility. I didn't really felt so comfortable to really attack. So, and today with the perfect weather we had, yeah, it was just nice to ski and to fully trust your skiing.
So would you say that the key was the confidence you had in yourself, or what was the key today?
Yeah, I think so. I analyzed well the 2 training runs. I had a good plan and line in my mind, and then in the end I had a very good setup as well. I could play where I need, but also had a good feedback when it was needed. So yeah, everything fit together.
Thank you and congratulations again.
Now let's have a look at this performance. Oh, we're not going to look at it yet in real time, but I have to admit, this turn here on Talent, look at that Stockley ski just arcing all the way through the grip, and then the switch and timing was beautiful. He knew after he'd skied through the brink into Talent and Pete's Arena that it was the kind of touch and feel that he can really excel with. And Odermatt clearly delighted, not only with his first downhill win of the season, but winning for the first time on the Birds of Prey here at Beaver Creek, Colorado. Well, the standings for the men's downhill, as this is the season opener, are the same as the result. Odermatt, as the defending champion, takes the early lead. Ryan Cochrane-Siegel's second, and Sørsted of Norway is third. There'll be 2 downhills in Val Gardena. They're the next downhills scheduled for the men's tour. The first on Thursday, the 18th of December, and that's the replacement race that we've lost here in Beaver Creek. And then, of course, on the 20th of December, the official Val Gardena Saslong downhill race. Marco Odermatt takes control at the top of the standings. 6 of 38 races already contested this season. 300 points, 134 clear of Marco Schwarz, not in action today. And as the defending overall champion, Odi looking good, already comfortably on track to potentially claim his 5th big globe. Pretty impressive start to the season for Odermatt, recording his 3rd win of the season, taking his career tally to 48, just 2 away from the legendary Alberto Tomba, who has 50 World Cup wins and lies 4th in the all-time winners list. Austria ahead of Switzerland and Norway in the men's Nation Cup standings, due to the consistent racing of the Austrian racers. Now we're finally there. Marco Odermatt.
5, 4, 3.
Odermatt records his 5th downhill win of his career. Only over the past 2 or 3 seasons has he really conquered this. But one part of his downhill racing that he says he always struggles with is the gliding. And here we see him on the flyaway opening section, where you need to juice the skis on the rollers, really have that very light, almost washing feeling under the feet of the skis. And Odi admits that he's still learning to become a better glider, but now watch him go. Comes out of the tuck, loads the ski, entrance onto the brink. The timing and the technique here is just truly on point. And he loads that left footer, releases over, switches to right and left again with just such dynamic skill and wonderful style that for me, he'd won the race there on those 3 turns. In Pete's Arena again, he draws on his giant slalom and super G skills. And when he's confident in the turn, he's into the aerodynamic shape, that split second earlier. Again, he tells us another part of his downhill racing that he wants to improve on is his jumping. flying through the air at high speed. He's coming in at about 70 miles per hour to the Golden Eagle here. And watch him again. Looks ahead, sets it up, times it perfectly. Early ski to snow contact, and it's in the can already. Only skier to go sub 1 minute 30 on the Birds of Prey here today. A deserved winner, Marco Odermatt, his 5th in downhill, 48th in his career. He'll also start as the big pre-race favourite for the Super G here tomorrow, and possibly the giant slalom on Sunday. Winner's presentation just under 2 minutes away. Please stay with us, live here on FIS TV and FIS Radio. Everything is okay. He's not in life danger, but he's in pain with his knee. Oh, that is a real relief for Rukasnoch of Slovenia, the only racer to take a serious crash in the competition today. And thank you to the Slovenian team radio for giving us that valuable piece of information with regards to Ruk and his crash. A slight knee injury, but nothing at all too serious. Oh, that is so good to hear.
All of this happens through our partnership with the US Ski and Snowboard, Beaver Creek Mountain Operations, and the Talon crew and Raptor crew. They did an outstanding job preparing the course today.
So they're preparing the prize giving and award ceremony in the finish area of the Birds of Prey as we take a look at the looming storm crowds. I hope the weathermen are wrong, because they have a very serious snowfall forecast in Beaver Creek through tomorrow into Saturday and Sunday. Now, of course, we will take it on a day-by-day basis, and Marcus Waldner, who's already played the schedule brilliantly, I believe, here in Beaver Creek, Colorado, to make sure that we chose the best weather day for the downhill, that of course is the most easily affected by the weather conditions. Then Super G tomorrow. Saturday is the worst of the forecast, potential giant slalom on Sunday before the men head back to Europe for the pre-Christmas schedule. Here we are in the finish area, and here's the top 3 presentations.
Ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the Stiefel Birds of Prey Audi FIS World Cup Men's Downhill. In 3rd place, representing Norway, Adrian Smyserstedt.
So Adrian Smyserstedt, second podium of his career. But perhaps most importantly for Adrian, it was a long time ago, back in 2019, I believe. This is the delight again. Not since 2014 has an American made the podium in the downhill here in Beaver Creek. That was Steve Nyman. It's Ryan Cochran-Siegel today. Marco Odermatt, his 5th career downhill victory, 48 in total, drawing ever closer to the great Alberto Tomba, who won 50, and Tomba lies 4th in the all-time men's winners list. I'm sure he can not only take that position away from Tomba this season, Marco Odermatt, but also get closer to the great Hermann Maier, who won 54 times on the World Cup circuit. Brilliant day for Marco Odermatt.
Transformational gift, renaming the finish area as the John and Karen Arnold Red Tail Stadium. Presenting 3rd place, please welcome Jeffrey Martz, Board Chairman, Ski and Snowboard Club, Vail.
I'm so delighted for Adrian. He came so close to winning a race in Aspen one season. How many of you remember that? Only to have the race cancelled before we got to 30 runners down the mountain.
Presenting
3rd to date, 2nd podium of his career. Great start to the downhill tour.
Ski and Snowboard Foundation, John Arnold, Board of Directors, Vail Valley Foundation.
Well, John Arnold has the pleasure of presenting Ryan Cochran-Siegel. Olympic silver medalist, of course. Ryan, a World Cup winner in the resort that will host the Winter Olympic Games this season. Is it all coming together for RCS just at the right time in his career? Ron Kruszewski, CEO of the Stiefel Financial Company. Ron presenting the winners' medal and awards to Marco Odermatt. Third win of the season. But this is one that he's wanted for some time. He's won here in the Super G 3 times before, with his first World Cup victory coming here in 2019. But the downhill, it's one of the classics of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup downhill tour. And to win here today is special for Marco. We all stand in honour of his victory and the Swiss national anthem. Well, he was suffering with a little bit of a cold and a bug last week, but he's back to full fitness and strength here in the downhill today of Beaver Creek, Colorado. Congratulations to Marco Odermatt, and weather permitting, Marco Odermatt will start as the firm favourite for another win tomorrow in the Super G and a potential third win in the Giant Slalom on Sunday here in the Beaver Creek, Colorado mountains. We will keep our eyes on the weather. The schedule has us coming back tomorrow morning with a start at 11:15 a.m. live, of course, here on FIS TV and FIS Radio. And the headline story as we leave the opening downhill of the season today: can anybody stop Marco Odermatt, who already is in the form of his life and will continue here in Beaver Creek, Colorado, looking to break a few more records and rewrite the history books of alpine ski racing. On behalf of the FIS TV team and myself, Nick Fellows, until tomorrow morning's scheduled Super G, many thanks for your company. It is goodbye for now.
A big mistake in copper cost you the podium. How did you bounce back to attack today?
Just trusting the skiing, trusting the process, yeah. Having fun with it too. No expectations going on this.
And tell us what your run felt like. Was it smooth? Was you out of control?
I felt fairly smooth. Trying to push the sections, but I felt like I kind of didn't quite execute yesterday. And yeah, just having fun with it. Going with the flow, feeling with the train, and yeah, ended up being pretty good.
All right, let's talk to our winner. The winner in Sullivan, in copper, now at Birds of Prey. Unbelievable. Tell us about your run. Were you on the limit?
Yeah, you always are on the limit if you want to fight for the top spot. The pitch was amazing. One of my best skiing in downhill, I guess. And then lower section a little bit less. It got a little bit tighter trying in the last split. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with my run today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, your top three from the Stiefel World Cup here at Birds of Prey. As you heard, tomorrow will be the Super G. 11 a.m. Don't go anywhere. Glad to have you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Come here.